Do it. Okay, just do it. Hello everyone, Shawnee here. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. I'm going to say it ahead of time. So if you're new here, welcome. If you are not and you're, clicked on this video from my Swift with Shawnee series, this is going to be a little different. It's not going to be about programming. It's going to be about how to do business, I guess, or how to create a business. The thing is I am completely new at this and completely clueless on building a business. So now that I actually have an app that I feel pretty confident about releasing out into the wild, I've actually done a little bit of research on it. There is a market for it. I feel like this is the perfect jumping off point for me to actually learn how to build a business from the ground up. So this is my dry run. This is my open experiment, and you get to follow along if you want to. Critique, I don't know, find it entertaining just to watch, cool. Because you can find, business stuff entertaining. There's, The Apprentice and Shark Tank. So along those lines, it can be entertaining. All right. So if you aren't building an app, but you want to release a product, or you have a service that you want to sell and you want to be your own boss and all that jazz, these concepts will apply to you too. But this is kind of a layman terms type of deal. I'm learning this stuff on the fly for the most part, by the seat of my pants. Being that I am clueless, any time you're clueless, I know I say clueless like, oh, it's a bad thing. It's not really a bad thing. And the reason why I say that is it's okay. The thing is, I have no experience to alter what I'm doing. So I don't suffer from any past failures in a business. So I'm coming at this with fresh eyes. Being in a state of cluelessness is a temporary choice. But it provides me an opportunity to learn, and hopefully the opportunity for you to learn without any preconceived notions. So it's actually kind of a gift. With that in mind, I'm going to be very skeptical of everything that I do and say and read and try out. If it works for me, great. It might not work for you, but maybe something that I do that doesn't work for me might work for you. So again, be very skeptical of everything. Because you don't want to completely dig your own grave, apparently. All right, so being that I am clueless, and if you don't know anything about anything, what's the first thing people typically do? They go on their search engine of choice and type in how to build a business or how to be an entrepreneur, and you will get a laundry list of links, okay? Overwhelming, absolutely overwhelming. And then if you decide to do like the course route, which I did at first, I did take a course called learnappmaking.com, and the gentleman there did put a course together that was quite good, but I still felt overwhelmed by the whole process. And so I decided, the best thing to do is just to do what I did when I first learned Swift. So if you're not familiar with my series, Swift with Shawnee, basically that series was me learning how to program in the Swift programming language. And how I did that was I learned the information that I wanted to retain. I created my own examples, and then I made myself explain the code or the concepts in videos and actually show how to make those connections. And the thing is it's important to know kind of like how you learn. And I'll get to that in a little bit. So because I went that route, I decided, okay, I need to read something. I need some books to devour. So I went to Amazon.com, and again, just overwhelming. And one of my pet peeves with Amazon with books is that if you want to actually like see what's in the book. It's hard to, because they only give you a preview of like maybe the first 2 chapters, if that. But typically me, I'm the type of person who will look at the table of contents and say, oh, that's an interesting title. Let me skim through that chapter before I buy the book. And Amazon doesn't do that. So I said, forget you, Amazon. I'm going to my local bookstore. In the physical bookstore. So I went down to my local bookstore and I was like, okay, probably won't be nearly as overwhelming as Amazon.com. I thought. I was mistaken. So go down the aisle, the business aisle, and I'm telling you, both sides of the bookcase, basically from floor almost all the way up to the ceiling, was filled with business books. Tons and tons of business books. So after like a couple hours of searching through, picking up this book, browsing that book, climbing on top of books, getting the step stool, I found a few books that really resonated with me. And I bought them and took them home. Now, you don't have to choose these books, and they might not work for you. But the thing is I'm just sharing what's working for me right now. I might change my mind. I typically do. So don't take my word as like gold or anything. And I actually encourage you to actually find books or resources that actually resonate with you, because everyone learns differently. So the first book that I bought, I actually had gotten this reference, I believe, from learnappmaking.com, but I could be mistaken, but I think I got it from there. It was probably some rabbit hole I fell down. So the first book I bought was The Personal MBA by Josh Kaufman, Master of the Art of Business. This is his first edition, but for me, I was like, okay, it might be, might not be a second edition, which might be newer, but the only thing that I think would be, out of date would be the references. But I went on his website, and he keeps his website pretty updated, so I don't feel like I really need to buy his second edition. But if you do, it's nice and shiny. It doesn't look exactly like this, but for me, I wanted to write in it, and I did. I have my note, and I actually write in it. And I find this one actually is kind of my reference. I have read the first 2 chapters, but there's some things in here that don't apply to me right now. But there's some things that are applicable. So I feel like this is going to be one that I'm going to be coming back to time and time again as the need arises, or as I come across concepts I don't understand. So this is going to be like my dictionary of business. Don't know if you really want to call it that, but that's what I'm going to call it. All right, so the second one that I bought, I needed something to kind of guide me through it, but it like step by step, like hold my hand. I'm scared. So this one I reads like having a coach right next to you, and it's Launch Your Dream by Del Partridge. So yeah, Launch Your Dream, a 30-day plan for passion into your profession. And I like this one because he breaks it down day by day, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be exactly 30 days, because some of the things that he has you do takes a little longer than 30 days, or it takes you longer than a day. I mean, unless you are probably you don't have a job, or you don't have a full-time job, you could probably get it done in 30 days, maybe some things. But I like that it's set out day by day, and each day has a little reading assignment, and he gives you how long it takes to read it. What? Which is awesome, because if you're working full-time like I am, you only have maybe an hour or 2 every day to spend on it during the week. On the weekends, I spend hours on this. But during the week, it's nice that I can just read it for 8, 10, 15 minutes, however long it is, and then do part of the activity, which he does have an activity after every day. Sometimes it's really simple. Sometimes you do have to do some homework, and you do have to figure some things out. So that's why I say it's not exactly going to be 30 days. But so far, I like it. And I'll cover day 1 through 4, because that's what I've done in this book, and a little bit. Okay. This third one that I bought is kind of something that is applicable to me. It might not be applicable to everybody. but I know what kind of personality I am, and I know what I struggle with and what are opportunities for improvement. So there's some things that I kind of glanced over in the Launch Your Dream book that I'm like, oh gosh, seriously, do I have to really do that? I was like, I need something to kind of help me, provide me strategies to overcome some of my fears or some of my analysis problems. I mean, being analytical is good sometimes, but sometimes it's So I bought the Introvert Entrepreneur. I am an introvert. It might not seem like it, but I definitely am. By Beth Balo. I think I'm pronouncing her name right. I'm probably butchering it, so I'm sorry, Beth. Okay, so this one is pretty awesome. So far, it's definitely helped me just act on what I need to do for myself. The thing is, like I said, if you're not sure like what kind of learner you are or what kind of personality you are, I highly recommend that you figure that out, because if you can figure out what works for you and what doesn't, you will set yourself up for success in anything you decide to tackle, whether it's business or programming or whatever you want to do or learn. If you know like how you learn and how you retain information and what motivates you, the easier it is to tackle anything. Going into that, I needed ways to basically carve this path out for myself, and I am using, I think I'm on chapter 4 or 5 now, so I have my little tabs. I'm writing in this book because I bought it used, so I don't care. I'm just going to write in it and highlight. So the last book that I bought was kind of one where I was like, okay, I want a book where the person has been in business for a long time, has had a lot of successes and a lot of failures, has had good publicity and bad publicity, and who basically doesn't give a flying what anyone says. So I got Trump's Are the Deal. I thought, yeah, why not? I mean, he's had a lot of successes. I mean, he's the President of the United States at this point. He's had a lot of failures, bankrupt several times. So why not? And I found his second chapter absolutely motivating. Because I actually read this book before I bought the other 3. And I think if it wasn't for like his second chapter, I would probably not have even like decided to go with this. I really don't. And the thing is you do have to think big, and that's the first card of his chapter 2 Trump's cards, the elements of the deal. Thinking big, because if you don't think big and you don't try to push yourself, you're gonna just be mediocre. And Trump is not even close to being mediocre. And I don't care what you think of him or anything. I'm doing this because this book is awesome. So take it or leave it. Like I said, you don't have to buy any of these books, or you can buy all of them. I don't care. I'm not being sponsored by any of these people. I'm just using what is, resonating with me right now. The thing is this book went really well with my Launch Your Dream book. So I have finished the first 4 days. And the thing is just like Trump's Think Big, the first 4 days was totally about mindset and getting yourself ready to actually start a business. And what really stuck out with me is, one, prepping yourself personally, identifying those things that are your flaws, your weaknesses. And if you don't know them, go to someone you trust, a family member. Well, probably not. If you have a family member who is really objective, go to them. But go to a friend who knows you really well, who's willing to be upfront with you to say, yeah, these are your strengths, these are your weaknesses, these are your flaws, so that you know what will work for you and what doesn't. And so that's kind of what I did. I've done it before, and so I know the things that work for me and what don't and what doesn't, and knowing kind of how you learn. Like I said, I'm a kinesthetic learner, so I learn best by actually getting the information and actually having a project to apply it to. That's the whole entire reason why I did the Swift with Shawnee series, is because I wanted to learn Swift. And for me, actually reading the documentation, creating my own examples, and actually going through the motions of teaching this is how I learned Swift. So this is kind of the same concept. I'm buying my books, applying it to something that I'm already working on, which is an app, so I could do a dry run. Another thing that this book, Day 1 through 4, definitely gives you kind of a prep, in the sense that you have to have a very good, very strong work ethic, because it is so hard to try something new, especially like a business or anything that you have to really work on that you've never done before. You have to throw away everything that you know. So I've only worked in the corporate arena I've only been a worker. Like, I've never started a business. So in this book, he mentions you have to throw away everything that you have ever known about workplace expectations, because they do not apply at all when you start a business. I think that was the biggest eye-opener. I mean, I kind of knew that going into this, but he just solidified it for me. So I was like, okay. And then having work ethic, you have to put in the time, which is definitely true. I definitely had to put in the time to learn Swift. So I already knew coming in I was going to have to put the time in. And then being able to make cuts in your leisure time, like not spending all your time on a Netflix, binge on the weekend. You have to save that for later. You have to let people know in your family that you're doing this, so that they have an expectation of, your time and what you can't do. And then discipline, which was really awesome, because he said, if you can't control your morning, you can't control your day. And if you can't control your day, you can't control your life. And that really resonated with me. So on that note, my next video is going to be about how I am approaching time management, planning this out, scheduling, setting goals in my next video. So I'm going to leave you with the trump card and the title to this video, Think Big. If you're going to think anyway, you might as well think big. Most people think small because most people are afraid of success, afraid of making decisions, afraid of winning. And that gives people like me a great advantage. And you too. So think big, go after your dreams. So this is going to be kind of a new format. I got a really good email, but I also get good comments too about questions and things like that. So I will try to answer them as they come my way. If I answer your questions in the comment section, it's still the same thing. But sometimes there's some questions or emails or comments that I get on my videos are actually really good. And I think it's typically a lot of these questions are questions that I've actually encountered and had to find out the hard way or learn the hard way. But if I can't answer a question, I will definitely direct you to someone who can, or maybe some resources that might better help you out. Okay? So this week I received an email from Shazab. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And I'm going to paraphrase the email. But basically, Shazab wrote, I am a beginner and I want to be a professional iOS developer. What suggestions do you have to keep me motivated and overcome laziness or feeling lazy in the developing journey? I need your help if you are there to help. I hope I will get better suggestions from you that will make my future bright. I hope so too. I am awaiting your response. Great question. The thing I would say first of all about motivation is having a good why. What is your reasons for doing this? So brainstorm, I would say, brainstorm why you want to do this. Because once you brainstorm and write down your compelling reasons why you want to, change a career or to learn iOS programming or anything that is pretty difficult to get into and sustain, you have to have those reasons right there in front of you when you come across issues, like when, you come across a framework that you're not familiar with, or a programming concept that's just frustrating to like work through. You have to have those reasons right in front of you, because that will help you get through those humps. That's the thing I would suggest, is definitely have a very compelling reason why you want to do this. Setting goals. So write down what your goals are for this, because once you write down your goals, obviously the goal is to complete an app, obviously. So writing down whatever that goal is, or if it's just, programming, learning how to program, write down the goal that you want to set for yourself, and then figure out what kind of outcome you would expect from setting that goal. So write your goal first. Second, write down the outcome or the result that you expect to get. And then from there, you can brainstorm what steps it would take for you to do that. And with programming, it's pretty, the steps are pretty, I say, simple, in the sense that you can generally get the information that you need from just looking at, documentation, or taking, a couple of tutorials, or even a course. And then most importantly, set a deadline for yourself. Write it down, a date that you have to get it done. For example, if it's just programming, like you want to learn, how to work if statements, and then you want to learn like methods or something like that, write down, okay, on Tuesday at this time, I will complete the tutorial for this, that, or the other. So that's what I would suggest. And then a really good thing is tracking your progress, especially if you're if you're not taking a course and you're learning this on your own. You have to track what you're doing, because I actually still track what I do. Like, I have my project tracker, and then I also have my life tracker. And so my next video, I'll discuss how I do that, how I track my goals, how I track my projects that I work on, and things like that. So thank you so much for the question, and hopefully it's helped you out a little bit. Again, I do plan on releasing in the next video what I use to keep myself, in check. What I use to track myself and things like that. All right, so till next time, friends.